Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I just finished watching a video by Jess Owens, and it was on ableism in publishing and just ableist languages that she did a whole video about, and that was linked in a thread on Twitter. So then after watching that video, I felt very inspired, and then I came across another YouTube channel named Mina. And when I saw the video, it was about celebrities not washing themselves, not bathing, having really bad hygiene. And then I clicked on the video. I went straight to the comments because I love to go straight to the comments, and I saw that she had to pin a comment, and it was basically her apologizing for the video. So I was like, "Ooh, I like this drama. What happened?" So then I'll read the pinned comment that she made. It says, "Hello, my dears. After scanning through some of the comments tonight, I realized that the theatrics I used for entertainment purposes actually hurt my disabled viewers by making fun of celebrities for being gross. I want to apologize. This was supposed to be a light-hearted video making fun of the ultra-rich, but I should have considered the feelings of a group who actually can't shower multiple times a week and who do not have access to what is considered to be, by the majority, good hygiene. What I wanted to stress in the video is not that it's anyone's fault for not having accessibility, or even implying that people are worthy of less respect because of their personal hygiene practices. The point I wanted to get across is that it's so incredibly hypocritical how rich, able-bodied white people were the ones to create this hierarchy of appropriate hygiene used to oppress marginalized groups, only to break the rules themselves and expect everyone to just be okay with it. Coming from an Asian background, my interactions with smelling bad or good were rooted in my ethnic identity, with white kids hating on me and on the smell of incense or Asian fruits or tiger balm. And I think many of the comments written by people of color are reflective of their same annoyance with the colonialism and how that's affected their own hygienic practices. It was impulsive of me to focus my narrative on this perspective when I have such a big platform that reaches so many cool people, and I should have taken more care to investigate the experiences of others. I'm so grateful that a handful of people have come forward and felt the courage to share their own experiences with the subject. I've learned a lot from reading a few comment threads, and now what I would love in the future is for us all to recognize the intersectionalities and complexities of hygiene before commenting, so that no marginalized group of people feel bad about themselves. Much love. F off Jeff Bezos, and have a good night."
Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and welcome to another episode of Book Community, where I try to keep you abreast of the goings-on in the bookish community. Today's episode, you probably already noticed, is shorter, or at least that's what I'm aiming for. Sometimes things require a deeper dive. I want to read more things to you, and sometimes things are more just topics or drama that I want to bring to your attention or bring up. Hot goss, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like today's more of that. Not like these things aren't serious, but it won't be as in-depth as...
So this is something I've been talking about with friends in real life, just about language, because it comes up a lot, especially in the bookish community on the bookternet. And ableism is brought up a lot. It's a real thing, obviously, but sometimes it's used quite incorrectly. And so someone created a thread, and they said a non-exhaustive guide to ableist language to avoid. Happy Disability Pride Month. So some of these I've heard of. Others I have not. I won't say all of them, but a lot of them I was like, and other people on the internet thought as well. So of course they have ones like the R word, we don't use that. Insane, crazy. I've tried to take that out of my vocabulary as much as possible, because obviously there are people who have legitimate mental illnesses, and so I've tried to take that out of my vocab. Another one that I struggle with is stupid/idiot. They said these words have historical connotations with implying a lack of intelligence and are often used as insults. Let's say it again, intelligence is not a basis for respect. But then some of them started to get weird. One they put on here, which touch grass, and y'all know I'm a fan of that saying. They said, this phrase is used to imply someone has lost touch with reality and just needs to go outside. This is ableist because there are many people who physically cannot go outside, and there are people who have lost touch with reality, but this doesn't mean they don't deserve respect. Another one, can't read. Implying someone is misunderstanding you because they can't read is racist, classist, and ableist. They may not be fluent in this language. They might not understand your vocab. They might be blind, and also intelligence is not a basis for respect. OCD, that one makes sense. It's obsessive compulsive disorder is a real disorder, and people usually use that when they're just saying they're like very particular about something. They like things a certain way. They have lazy as an insult. This term is disproportionately used against ADHD people and discounts the fact that many have executive dysfunction. If the task will not result in dopamine, the brain does not want to do the task. It's not laziness, it's a chemical imbalance. So there's a lot. The thread I think was deleted, but somebody has the thread all in one place, and if I can find, I just have screenshots. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. But some of them, it was just like, you know. And so there were many references to this on Twitter, but somebody put together a thread, I think, which encompassed a lot of good feelings that I'll read. I really do not want to pile on to a person who I think means well, but that entire ableist language thread going around is a mess, and especially the part that says empathy is an ableist concept because autistics don't experience it. That is false. So they also said empathy. This word is weaponized to harm autistics and others who don't experience empathy. Empathy is not a universal human experience, and it is not required to be a good person. Just because someone doesn't experience empathy doesn't mean they still don't deserve respect. The thread continues. Furthermore, it is not ableist to reference a thing that some people cannot do. If that were true, referencing math or reading or walking or talking would be ableist. Ableism is not the mention of something not everyone can do. It is only ableist to insist that everyone can do a thing, or to insist that the thing is easy for everyone, or that people who cannot do the thing are bad. It's not ableist to say touch grass because some people can't. It's not ableist to say someone can't read your tweets because some people can't. It's not ableist to reference things that people cannot do. That's not how ableism works. If someone tells me to walk to somewhere and I can't, that's not ableism. The ableism would come into play if they don't believe me or keep insisting that anyone can, or that I'm just faking, or that I'm a bad person or a weak person for my lack of ability. I really feel very strongly about this because there's been this online shift into defining ableism from pretending everyone has the same level of baseline ability, we don't, to this new concept of it's ableism to even mention an ability that some people don't have. Some people have empathy, some people don't, and no, it's not as simple as all autistics don't, for fuck's sake. Not having empathy does not make someone a bad person. Having empathy doesn't make somebody ableist for talking about a skill they have that others do not. I am worried about this discourse about X being weaponized against disabled people and therefore always wrong. The wrong isn't X, it's the part where it's been weaponized. Calling my cat lazy isn't a slur. Weaponizing accusations of laziness against disabled people is bad. Calling that one cis guy we don't hang out with anymore a know-it-all isn't a slur. Weaponizing enthusiastic info sharing against autistic people is bad, and so on. The weaponization of nuanced term doesn't mean that nuanced term is always bad. Good allyship isn't just a list of bad words you memorize, never use again, and you're fine now. People want an easy button when it comes to being a good person. They want a list of rules they can memorize and perform, and then we know they're a good person because we didn't do. forbidden items 1 through 99. It's harder than that. So good news, there's no definitive list of all the ableist words to avoid. Bad news, there's no definitive list of all the ableist words to avoid. You want to not be ableist, you have to think about what you're saying, not just avoid the bad words. For example, think about what you're doing when you imply that all autistic people can't feel empathy. That would be a good place to start on the road to treating ableism as a concept greater than bad words. So I thought it was a really great thread, because I feel like more and more every day there's more things that are being deemed ableist, and some of them are valid, and some it's like the context matters. Like they said, if I was saying Nigel's being so lazy today because he's just snoozing, it's not ableism. If I was talking, you know, to a person with ADHD or to a group of people who are disabled and using these words, then yes. And I feel like, of course, on the internet, that context nuance gets lost. Some of them are more, I guess, clear-cut than others. In general, there's ones I feel like as a society we don't say, and then there's ones I specifically clearly understand to not say, and then there's other ones where I'm like, I feel like in context, maybe that one's going a little far, but the internet's not that place to have that discussion, so I'll keep those to in-person discussions with friends, because it would become a mess. But I just think it's important to keep that in mind. I know it's an important term and it does happen, but you just can't call everything ableist. Like, that just doesn't work. And I've talked about it a couple times in videos. I think there was someone who was saying that by people criticizing book hauls because they, as a person with a certain mental illness, bought books. Actually bought a lot of books. I forgot the reason, that was ableist. And so I feel like that was another way where it was like, no. So these terms are important, and I don't want them to lose their importance because people just throw them on everything. The things they represent are important, things that we need to address in the way we talk, in the way society is, yes, but like just making everything, just throwing that out there without thought about it, I feel like can lessen the impact of what recognizing actual things that are ableist is trying to do. Does that make sense? But yeah, I was talking to friends recently just on this about language, and again, I won't go into it here because I feel like it could be a slippery slope, a dangerous place, just because, I don't know. Some things I'm just like, are we taking that too far? Where's the line? And then some other things, like I said, are very clear cut. So if you saw mention of that, that's what happened, because the original thread was deleted. And so I'm sure, yeah, they were coming from a place of a good place, but some of it was just like, oh, that's not it though.
Okay, so I watched the video and I couldn't find a single thing that would offend disabled individuals. I was thinking, like, I mean, it makes sense, but obviously I thought it would be obvious that she wasn't talking about that in the video. And then I read the comments, like other people's comments, and one person said, wait until people find out Megan Fox doesn't flush her toilet, Jennifer Aniston has bad breath, and Jessica Simpson doesn't brush her teeth, and Zac Efron has showered with baby wipes. Those movie sets and intimate scenes must be a nightmare. That's so funny. But then I realized there's so many things in the world that are ableist. We live in a society where there is a standard for everything. The number one privilege is being able-bodied, and then probably whatever gender you are, whatever race you are, follows through. But just being able to do things, it makes a whole difference. So now it comes back to Jess Owens' video that I watched. That will be linked in the description. So now I think she explains it perfectly. And now we will be going through some of the comments, some of the actual like trigger warnings and ableist language used. Okay, so the R word. Starting off really easy, hopefully. This exclusionary slur has been used to imply that lack of intelligence is lack of humanity. Say it with me. Intelligence is not a basis for respect, which is true. I completely agree with. There are those who reclaim this slur, but it's best not to use it against anyone. That makes sense. Okay. I generally don't use the word. I don't use bad words in general, the N word, the R word. I prefer not to use it. So for me, it was just easy. But then you have some people that will vehemently defend using terrible language. And then the next one is smooth brain. License Valley is a genetic brain disorder in which someone lacks folds in their cerebral cortex. Oh my gosh, you learn new things every day. But people use this phrase as an insult to imply a lack of intelligence. Say it with me again. Intelligence is not a basis for respect. I know sometimes we lose sight of this, especially for me in high school. The not so smart kids would be mistreated so badly by our teachers because they just didn't want to waste their time with them. And you were the teacher's favorite if you were like part of the top 2% of the school. So for me, I always viewed that as a privilege. I was literally just like, yay, it's nice being the teacher's pet. But now it's very interesting to put yourself in other people's shoes. Just because they're not as intelligent as you are, it doesn't mean that you should disrespect them. It can have such negative effects on kids' self-esteem especially. Okay, touch grass. Just explains it perfectly. I was confused. I was like, touch grass? I've never heard this before a day in my life. Okay, and then insane or crazy. Aside from being an all biased word, insult against those with mental illness, this is used to imply something is unbelievable. This connotation is incredibly harmful. Instead of saying an experience was crazy, try using the word wild instead. I'm trying to like visualize that. Imagine someone calling me crazy. It's like, for me, it's not a big deal. Words are not a big deal. I practice stoicism. So for me, it's like whatever people say, if it's not true, I don't really care. It doesn't really affect who I am as an individual. Okay, next one, stupid or idiot. These words were historical connotations with implying a lack of intelligence and are often used as insults. Okay, let's say it again. Intelligence is not a basis for respect. Okay, that's true. Those words hurt so badly. If you get one small thing wrong, like imagine your parents calling you stupid or an idiot. It really hurts your feelings a lot. Okay, so now there's a trigger warning for classism and racism. So if someone says you can't read, like implying someone misunderstands you because they can't read is racist, classist, and all ableist. They might not be fluent in this language. They might not understand your vocabulary. They might be blind, and also intelligence is not a basis for respect. I'm trying to think of how that could be used. Like, can't you read? Yeah, no, I can't read. I'm thinking there was a meme about that. If I find it, I'll be very excited to put it in.
Jared, could you read number 23 for the class?
No, I cannot. What up? I'm Jared, I'm 19, and I never learned how to read.
Okay, and then lame. Oh, this word historically meant having difficulty walking, but people now use it to imply something is boring or not fun. Say what you mean instead of using ableist language. Jeez. I remember another hilarious meme that used the word lame. I felt offended, but funny offended. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. That's so funny. And then
it's okay that you're not in a relationship right now, you know, there's a pandemic going on, so like it's normal, like you don't have to be with someone right now. Like you can use that time to figure out things about yourself, you know, or you can figure out why you're so lame that you can pull anyone right now. Like you have phone, you can talk to people without going out of your house, and you still can find someone. That's so lame.
that's so funny. And then dumb. This term has been used to imply those who are non-verbal are lacking intelligence. There is no correlation between non-verbal and intelligence, and using this as an insult is ableist. Okay, one of my favorite books is by Stephen King, and the main character is, I don't want to say, oh yes, mute. Yes, you shouldn't use the word dumb, you should use the word mute. I use the word dumb all the time to describe people who can't speak properly, so now it's just like, that's the word I should be using. Oh, Thank goodness I like realized it. But then, what was the movie? It's The Stand by Stephen King. It is amazing. It is incredibly long. So if you can handle that, I highly recommend reading it if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of adventure, just wanting to get into new books. Okay, and so then the next one is You're Mentally a 4-year-old. This rhetoric has been used to infantilize those with developmental delays and allow conservatorships of grown adults. Developmental delays do not negate age. A 30-year-old is a 30-year-old and an adult, no matter what developmental delays they have. Okay, that's very valid. I think it's just so ingrained in our society to just use whatever insults we want. It's terrible. I feel really bad now. It's really good to be able to recognize certain things and to hopefully try to fix it. So then the next one, OCD. I'm so OCD about cleaning the house or about doing my homework. So now it's not cute to say you're OCD if you are not. This disorder causes real struggles for people, and it's not just about being neat and tidy. In fact, a lot of people with OCD struggle with organization. Don't trivialize OCD struggles by using this for yourself if you are not OCD. That's harsh. That's so harsh. I thought it would be normalizing OCD so that there's not like a stigma around it. But I guess now people will not take you seriously if you actually do have OCD. Now it's just a thing where, oh yeah, everyone has a bit of OCD. That's what one of my lecturers told me. And I was like, interesting. Because I'm just a kid. And then this grown adult is saying everyone has it. So now it's just like, it trivializes the whole thing. And I just never thought about it in detail. Okay. And then we have bipolar. Many people use this to mean someone has mood swings, but mood swings are not exclusive to bipolar. This is a real disorder that has a huge impact on people and doesn't deserve to be trivialized because you're feeling moody. Oh yeah, I know people use that as an insult so often. It's like you'll feel happy about one thing, then you see something that makes you mad, and then you just go off and people are like, oh, you bipolar. It's just like Kanye West has bipolar disorder, and now it's just like, it's a joke. People view it as a joke because no one has taken it seriously for so long. And that's actually so upsetting because I know mental illness is increasing a lot in today's society. Oh, it's just so sad. And a lot of these, I know no one wants to hear, but a lot of these are spirits, God, Jesus cast out so many spirits from people who were disabled, people who were crippled, people who had seizures and emotional disorders and stuff like that. And he cast out those demons, and then those people were restored. For me, I know a lot of people don't like to hear, but that's incredible to me. It just makes you understand, like, there's power in the tongue. There's power in the name of Jesus. Like, using his name, he is the Son of God. He can literally solve any type of problem. You just have to have faith and really just humble yourself and give yourself fully to God. Okay, so let's keep going. Hysterical. This term has a horrible history in discrediting people with uteruses. Oh my. Now most people use it in conjunction with humor. He was hysterical. Hysterical laughter. It's easy to replace this. He was hilarious. Wild laughter. Laughing with abandon. You see, we all need to grab our thesauruses. I never thought about this. For me, hysterical just seemed like such a weird word, so I was just like, I'm gonna avoid it. So now it's like seeing the history of it, it's upsetting. Okay, and then crippling or cripple. This is an ableist slur that has been reclaimed by many in the physically disabled community, myself included. That's the person that tweeted this, but their tweets were deleted. Okay, no, your anxiety is not crippling, it is debilitating. Oh my gosh, now we have to grab the dictionary. Okay, I'll quickly see if I can go to my dictionary and find. Okay, so crippling. Oh, it is a state of being crippled, lameness. Oh my, they used the word again. And then debilitating, causing a loss of energy or strength. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, so your anxiety can cause you to lose energy or strength, so you just feel tired, but it can't be crippling. No one is chopping off your legs. Guys, now I'm remembering, I don't know if anyone knows the movie Misery. So it's based off of a Stephen King novel. So yeah, that's what came, the first thing that came into my head when I now thought of crippling, like she crippled him. Gosh. Okay, and then the next one, trigger warning, abuse, narcissism, or being a narcissist. NPD is a disorder that has a huge impact on people. Not every narcissist is an abuser. In fact, they are more likely to be abused. Calling all abusers narcissist is an ableist way to discount the fact that many narcissists never abuse anyone. I did not even think about that. As far as my knowledge right now is concerned, because I have no knowledge, so take it with a grain of salt, but a narcissist only cares about themselves. They only want people to do what they want. That's what we've been told. You know, if you scroll through social media, scroll through the YouTube channels, you'll see narcissism. They are the abusers. So now it makes me question all these doctors that are making videos on narcissism. Someone is wrong here. It's either this Twitter thread or the doctors that are posting YouTube videos. So now I'm trying to picture a narcissist that is being abused, and it's like they're only focused on themselves. They can't see that they're being manipulated. Sure, I have no idea, so I don't know. And then they continue on to say, narcissist is one of the most widely given armchair diagnoses. Just because someone is self-obsessed or self-interested does not mean they have NPD. And throwing the term narcissist around simultaneously demonizes and trivializes NPD. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I've heard that being tossed around so much now. Okay, next one, psychotic, like the person who tweeted this, experiencing reality differently than others. You see, a lot of people are claiming curses onto themselves. They're claiming all these words. They're saying my diabetes, my mental illness. They're just putting it on themselves, and it's not helping. The Bible says that there's power in the tongue, and people just keep on going saying all these things. It's like, I don't want to compare it to manifesting because that's a bad idea. Don't get into that. But saying things out loud and just letting everyone hear what you're saying, like I'm psychotic, I'm this, I'm that, it's like you will become that. Be careful what you say, you know, careful what you wish for. Okay, but anyway, she goes on to say, this does not mean we are inherently violent or dangerous. Oh, she's saying we, my goodness. Okay, we are often more prone to being gaslit and abused than we are the abuser of someone else, because it's easy to manipulate our thoughts on reality. Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know what to say. And then there's more. Trigger warning, anti-Semitism. So Asperger's, this is the name of a literal Nazi who experimented on autistic children and used eugenics to decide which autistics were still valuable to society. There's a reason the DSM no longer uses this term. The proper term to use is autistic. I had no idea, guys. I had no idea. I think when Greta Thunberg came onto the scene, people were saying she has Asperger's. So for me, I was just like, this is a negative thing, you know? They were making it sound very negative, and I just didn't know. But now you learn new things every day. So using lazy as an insult, the term is disproportionately used against ADHD people and discounts the fact that that many have executive dysfunction. If the task will not result in dopamine, the brain does not want to do that task. It's not laziness, it's a chemical imbalance. Okay, sorry about that. So now, that's very interesting, very valid. I was stuck in that hole for a long time, and I was just like ADHD, and it's just like you can't waste your time focusing on your ADHD. You need to find ways to cope. Pray to God. You know, a lot of us just want to solve the problems on our own instead of going to the creator of the world and the universe and saying, God, please help me. Whatever is in me, get it out. I think I should I should reiterate a prayer that I have. I'm going to post it since here I am. And it's just like to get demons out of you, or just to get God to take control of your life, because life is stressful and stuff. And it was from Minister Kevin Owens. He's the one that said the prayer during one of his live streams. So I'm going to just put it here, hopefully. Okay, so now let's keep going. Spastic, or being a spaz. This term originated as an ableist slur against people with cerebral palsy to describe them as incompetent due to their uncontrolled muscle spasm. Ooh, it is incredibly harmful to assume inability equates to inferiority or uselessness. Yikes. I've heard so many people use that word. You guys see, I don't use these words. Actually, we've all used some of these words before, and that's very interesting how our modern day language has just changed so much. I know with not using the Lord's name in vain, for example, someone once said saying OMG, blasphemy. It doesn't help. You can't say that you believe that Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior, that you have faith in God, if you're going to be using his word frivolously, in vain. So just as if it's nothing. So now it's a situation of G's is short for Jesus. They trivialized his name, they cut it short, and they're like, yeah, just take that, use that. And I was shocked to find out that was what was happening, because I used that word so much and it overwhelmed me. I was like, well, I need to take a step back. Okay, so yeah, just sometimes you have to be careful for the words you say. The Bible does say there's power in the tongue. Shocking. Okay, and then confined to a wheelchair, mobility aids. ADHD. So we are not all a little bit ADHD, and trivializing this disorder is harmful. ADHD people navigate the world differently because of a lack of dopamine. It's not quirky or cute, and it's not just being easily distracted. In fact, many ADHD people actually hyperfocus. You guys, I'm really struggling. So you know what? I believe that God has control over us and that we can cast out demons, in the name of Jesus. So now it's like I'm confused. This does apply to me. Like, I'm hyper focused on certain things, and then other things I just can't be bothered. But I'm sure it's the world just being more distracting as well. And it's very valid, sure, if you go to a psychiatrist and actual professionals diagnosing and stuff, but also there's spiritual implications for everything has a spiritual origin. Okay, and then confined to a wheelchair. Mobility aids are freedom. They offer a way to experience the world. Saying something is confined or bound is putting a negative connotation onto what is a joyful thing. Increased mobility and independence. You guys, I don't know if any of you have read the book, what is it? Oh, A Little Life. Terrible book. Please do not read it. There's so many trigger warnings that just need to be placed on the title of that book, because someone is confined to a wheelchair and they literally say, I'm confined. Like they feel miserable in it, because it's like now they don't have the freedoms as able-bodied people. So yes, be grateful that you have the ability to be who you are, whether you're able-bodied or disabled. At least we're not dead. Okay, so then the next one is robot as an insult. This has been used by people to harm autistics and those with flat affect. Not everyone has vocal fluctuation and animated faces when they talk. This doesn't mean they are robots or defective or less than human, and they still deserve respect. Okay, I think this is where she deleted all of her tweets. Like, at this point, afterwards, people started calling her out because now she was just babying autistic people. She was just treating autistic people like it's the biggest insult in the world, and they were like, delete this tweet. I don't know. For me, it was very enlightening, insightful, but also like, come on, we're all human beings. At a certain stage, it's just like we can't get offended by everything. But I don't know, you know, some people can. Okay, let's keep going. So, empathy. This word is weaponized to harm autistics. Here we go again. And others who don't experience empathy. Empathy is not a universal human experience, and it is not required to be a good person. Just because someone doesn't experience empathy doesn't mean they don't still deserve respect. Yeah, here's where she lost a lot of people. Yeah, she just keeps on bringing autistic people as these monsters, and there's no way they can change. This is who they are. Not everyone is supposed to be a good person. It's just like, okay, take a deep breath, take a step back. Okay. And then borderline, often used as an insult to insinuate someone is abusive. But borderline personality disorder, people are more likely to be abused than to abuse others. At this stage, I don't know, people are just abusing each other. In fact, around 2/3 of them experience abuse. Anyone can be abusive, but borderline personality disorder does not predispose someone to be abusive. Emotional as an insult. This word is widely used to disregard and discount people's feelings. This hurts all genders as it portrays having emotions, though often negative ones, as bad. Emotions and emotional responses are normal, and people are allowed to have feelings. That is true. Unless you have feelings to the point where you're insulting other people and you're hurting other people's feelings, then yeah, people need to be called out regardless. Okay, and then armchair diagnoses. This is a process in which someone diagnoses someone else without any professional knowledge, with usually a mental illness, used mostly in a negative light. As with calling people narcissists, this is harmful and it perpetuates hate towards certain illnesses. In general, do not approach someone with a disorder, disability, or mental illness by disclosing negative experiences you had with others with the same condition. This does nothing but demonize and harm the person you're talking to. Practice compassion. Yes, we all need to just practice compassion. Okay. Yeah, so then she goes on to say, so much of our language revolves around hatred of differences. Disabilities, neurodivergence, and mental illnesses do not make someone lesser than or undeserving of respect. And changing your language to reflect that is a great way to show respect towards those communities. Very interesting read. Very, very interesting. I still don't know how Mina's video insulted people. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. Like, she called it gross, so that implies that disabled people are gross because they don't have the ability to wash themselves multiple times a week. Very interesting. Yeah, the world is great. The world is going through a lot. There's a lot of chaos. I hope you enjoy your day, you live your best life. Just be your best and try to be compassionate. Read your Bible every day. Don't forget, one of my favorite quotes is, the Bible keeps you from sinning and sinning keeps you from the Bible. I know from first-hand experience, even after being warned. So yes, enjoy your day and try to be the best you can be.